My book's called How to Be Jon Richardson in the Parlour, Jon Richardson in the Kitchen, and a Whore in the Bedroom. Brackets, not really, Jon Richardson in the bedroom too. And it's a sort of everyday guide on just how to sort of think and behave, really. So, there's sort of how to walk down the street guide there, so sort of how many points you would get for standing on each crack here. You've obviously got 3 grids here, so you'd have to make sure if you stood on the first 2, you didn't stand on the 3rd one.
Genuinely, is that what you would... walking down that street, that's what you would do?
Well, what I would do in this street, Jimmy, and I'm glad you asked... I would use this middle line here. I would just walk down that, and then I know if I can... I mean, it's quite a long stride for me, that. But if I can hit a crack each time, I know when I get to the end, I'm fairly even. At worst, there'll be a crack in or a crack out, but I'll even that.
You know, everyone enjoys a coffee table book. Something that they can pour over any time they want.
Sure.
You know, something special, something beautifully made. And I've come up with a beautiful coffee table book. And you know the expression, fit as a butcher's dog?
Yes.
I thought, what about a baker's dog? So this book's called Fit as a Baker's Dog. And it features, you know, some dogs who, through the sympathetic look in their eyes, they can wheedle a snack out of the most hard-hearted of owners. So that's Buttercup. There. Oh, here's Trigger. Here's Trigger. Now, a lot of people would say that Trigger is fat or obese.
What's it?
But no, she just likes big bones. That's Duke.
Oh, he's great. Look at him.
Is Duke a dog or a seal?
Duke, actually, he's a bit of a record holder.
Really?
He hasn't had a crack for 9 months. And then I thought, well, why not expand the book?
That looks like a flamingo that's let itself go.
Oh, here's Poppy. You wouldn't think carrots could do that to a rabbit.
Oh, my God.
Here's Harley.
Excellent.
The only way he'd catch a mouse is if he landed on it. And of course,
Can this be the rest of the show?
everyone's favourite, it's Rusty!
And will this be in all good bookstores?
Everyone, every single place you can imagine, railway stations. We're going to also drop them into war zones. Just to make people go, yeah, what are we doing?
OK, time now to go across the dictionary corner. Bill, what have you got for us?
What I have for you, Jimmy, is one of my favourite books. There's an instructive element to this show, so I thought I'd bring on something to try and, you know, educate. This is a phrase book called Practical Dialogues, where they're not actually practical in any way. It's an Indonesian to English phrase book, and they're not at all helpful. Really, I'll give an example. These are not the sort of phrases, you know, like phrases. If you go somewhere, you're like, is there a restaurant near here? Or could you direct me to a bar? And this is a conversation between 2 people, and it goes like this. I'm going to see the dentist. Right now? By 5 o'clock. And then, what for? Kind of obvious, really. To have a tooth out. What's the dentist's name? Fadley.
Fadley.
Maybe a typo, I don't know, but anyway, Fadley. And then this is where it really goes on. He is also an actor, isn't he? Yes, he is. You are lucky. Why? You have handsome dentist. Not qualified, but he's just dabbling. These conversations are more sort of like romantic. They're the kind of conversations, you know, you want to try and get to know someone a bit better. This one's called, do you often dream? What is a dream? Something which one seems to see or experience during sleep. Tell me another definition. Heard that one loads of times. A dream also means mental pictures of the future. Give me an example. Having dreams of wealth and happiness. Do you often dream during sleep? Yes. What did you dream last night? I dreamt I was kissing Sophia Loren.
They said I could read something from a book, you know, as long as it had some kind of literary merit, you know, it's a show about words and everything. So I thought I'd read an extract from the Morrissey autobiography, just because I'm a fan and, you know, it's really interesting and it's extremely well written. So here's my take on the Morrissey autobiography.
I think the genius of the show was that it did exactly what it said on the tin. Men behaving badly. It was about two men whose behaviour was, well, let's just say it left a lot to be desired. I remember those days very fondly. It was really good fun. In fact, it was brilliant. Sitting on the sofa, watching porn on the telly, having a couple of beers, talking about wanking, trying to cop off with Leslie Ash. And then the car would pick us up to take us to the studio and we'd have to film the show. I don't really keep in touch with Clumsy anymore, but he's off being all successful and everything. He was brilliant in Gravity. He looks very handsome these days. I think he might have had his ears done. Good on you, Clumsy. Thank you.
Erotic literature is popular with everyone. It appeals to our basest desires, and it's cheaper than buying someone dinner. And as with all literature, it's sometimes nicer to read it out loud. Now, if you're reading this at a church group, or perhaps on Radio 4, you might find that it's nicer to replace the rude words with other words, to make it politer. In this example, from 50 Shades of Grey, I have replaced the rude words with popular stations on the recently privatised East Coast Main Line. This is your punishment. So close and yet so far. Is this nice? He breathes in my Stevenage. I whimper, exhausted, pulling against my Edinburgh Waverley. I'm helpless, lost in an erotic Grantham. Retford, I beg. And he finally takes Durham on me. How shall I York you, Anastasia? Oh, my body starts to Dunbar. Please, what do you want? Doncaster, now! I cry. Shall I York you this way, or Wakefield Westgate? That's an endless choice, he breathes against my lips. He kneels up between my Hertford loop line. Very slowly, he pulls my Finsbury Park off. Staring down at me, his eyes gleaming. How nice is this, he says. He raises his eyebrows as his hand moves up and down his impressive Newark Northgate. He stares down at me for a moment, measuring my need, then he grabs me suddenly and flips me London King's Cross. It takes me by surprise, and because my hands are tied, I have to support myself on my Berwick-upon-Tweed. And from his impressive Peterborough, I instantly Darlington, again and again.
That smells nice, she purred as he emptied the bottle into his hands and began massaging the soft flesh of her shoulders. Good, he said, and it's also killing 99.9% of all the bacteria on your back. Good old Carex.